Welcome to this Wednesday, August 11th devotional. We are in 2 Samuel chapter 2. And here we see that David, after Saul's death, consults God about where he's to go. He asks if he should go back to Judah. And God replies, yes. And so David takes his family and heads back down to Judah. And here he is anointed from the people of Judah as their new king. However, Abner, a commander in Saul's army, had already taken Saul's son to be proclaimed king over the rest of Israel. And so here we begin to see an obvious conflict. David, the anointed king, king of Judah, has no authority in the rest of Israel, and the rest of Israel serves another king. And so there is a war quickly between Israel and Judah. Comes across playful, at least competitive. This man Abner being chased by Asahel, who is very, very fast. And he chases, and Abner tells him to stop, warns him not to come. I don't want to kill you. What will I say to your brothers? And the man continues and ends up dying. Israel and Judah are in a frenzy, running after one another, stabbing each other, killing each other. It's getting quite out of hand. There's one little part in verse 26. Abner shouted down to Joab, "Must we always be killing each other? Don't you realize the bitterness is the only result? When will you call off your men from chasing their Israelite brothers?" Joab replies, "God only knows what would have happened if you hadn't spoken, for we would have chased you all night if necessary." So Joab blew his ram's horn, and his men stopped chasing the troops of Israel. This frenzy, this bloodbath, this attack of one brother against another, Israel eating itself up, and one man asking a simple question that should have been very obvious, seems to sober both sides. Must we always be killing each other? Don't you realize the bitterness is the only result? When will this end? That sobering thought. Several times I have been wondering when something will end over the past while. And I was reflecting, and the simple question brought to me by God was, if right now, if I stopped it on my end, if I called out for peace, if I acted towards wholeness and unity, is there anything actually fighting against me? Or is it just perpetual, tit for tat, bit for bit? If only there were more men like Asahel on that day. If only there were more men like Gazelle today. Not getting caught up in the fury and the frenzy and the infighting and the back and forth and the making sure we get ours, but calling out for peace. Asking, when will this end? Sobering the people of God out of fighting amongst themselves and getting back to peace. And so I just pray that you, If you are in a situation that needs peace, that is going back and forth, that has gotten out of control, that you would hear from God how to bring peace into that situation, how to put an end to the violence. I pray that as a church and as a community, we would speak towards sobering peace more often than getting caught up in drama. And I pray that as a people of God, we would look towards His anointed, towards His Son, His Scripture, His church, instead of fighting back and forth over who is in charge here, but that we would honor those He has placed in charge. As hard as that can be. May the Lord bless you and keep you. May the Lord make His face to shine upon you. May the Lord be gracious to you. And today would you know His peace.